We're back. We're live again, everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. My next guest is someone I've been really looking forward to having a conversation with. When I had this podcast in mind, one of the first folks that came to mind is this gentleman. He is in his 19th season as the in-arena MC and TV personality for the NBA champion Golden State Warriors. He is known as the Warriors hype man at the Oracle Arena, now Chase, where he performs live in front of over 20,000 fans every single night. I don't know how he does it, and that's what I'm going to find out today. He is also a segment host on KRON 4. He freelances as an MC and host for the San Francisco Giants. He's Bay all the way. He's been doing that for 11 seasons. He's worked at CBS, Comcast SportsNet, the Oakland Raiders, Radio Disney, and he is also a professional auctioneer. Another really, really cool, I don't know if it's a side hustle, full hustle, but this gentleman right here is definitely a real city ambassador. Can I hear a whoop whoop?
Whoop whoop! Oh yeah,
we have Franco Finn, mi gente. How you doing?
What's up? What's up? Hey man, happy holidays to you and everybody out there. Hey man, this is a crazy time, but I know that we're a resilient city, resilient people, and you know what? We're gonna get through this. So positivity all the way, man, as we roll into the new year.
Yeah, man, and you're known for that, being that persona of positivity, of great energy. And, I want to get into it, but first I want to talk about who you are, because we all see you on TV, we hear of you, and we see you on YouTube. But I want to know, like your beginnings. Are you from the Bay? Where are you from? Where you be?
Tell
me a little bit about yourself, Franco.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm born and raised in this beautiful city by the Bay, San Francisco. I'm a true native of the city.
Way.
Yeah, true native. I grew up in the Mission Excelsior area. Yeah, back in the day. St. Luke's Hospital, shout out. It's no longer around, but man, a lot of folks, a lot of Filipinos, Latinos, a lot of folks that came into, to the Bay Area as immigrants and whatnot. That was, that hospital actually birthed a lot of people in that area. And so I'm very proud to be one of the, the many that came out of Luke's Hospital. Because let me tell you, it's legendary. It's a legendary place. It's different now, but let me tell you, right there in the heart of the Mission, Excelsior area, everybody was born there. If you're from that area, 9 times out of 10 out of that place. And it's a really awesome, just kind of starting that history here. And I had one of the very first Filipino doctors ever. And this back in the 70s, man, she was Dr. Escobar. Shout out to her. She's no longer alive, but she birthed so many people out of that hospital in the city. So a little shout out there. But yeah, Mission Excelsior, grew up there most of my life. And then maybe around 13, moved out to the Sunset area. So never left San Francisco. And so I'm proud of it.
What elementary school did you go to?
So I went through very different types of elementary schools. I mean, my parents, so my mom, when she came down here, I was the only child, number one. Mm-hmm. So of course you got to put all the eggs in one basket. So my family sent me to a private bilingual French school. So I learned French and English since I was 5. And it's a school called French American International School. And so I was pretty much the only Filipino American there. And it was like the United Colors of Benetton, man. We had one of each ethnicity from around the world. It felt like small class, 22 kids. And lived in France, did all that fun stuff. Actually was one of the very first set of students to get out to Europe. I actually lived in Europe for a couple of years on and off as an exchange student. So I really got this really unique perspective on cultures, people, everything since 5. So I went to this school. Yep. I saw there, French American International School. I didn't go all the way through high school. I went to Sacred Heart Cathedral after that. So kept it in the private school thing. But, my parents wanted me to do you want to get my Catholic education on it. My dad went there, my uncles. So Sacred Heart, Yep, Sacred Heart Cathedral Prep in San Francisco, right there, fighting Irish.
Wow.
And really, that's where I kind of learned a lot of where I give back. Our motto there was enter to learn, leave to serve. I mean, that was right up on the top of our school. Enter to learn, leave to serve. So as a very young age, I always thought about giving back. Even way back then, we used to volunteer at St. Anthony's Dining Room. We used to help with the Red Cross, the blood drives, all that kind of stuff was instilled at me at a young age. And then from there, went to Santa Clara University for college and went to the, kept it local. But I'm a Bay Area guy. That's why all Bay Area teams, baby.
I know. I was wondering. I was like, I don't know. Is he San Francisco Niners? Is he Raiders? Because I see him I see you everywhere. But I didn't realize you were born and raised in San Francisco.
Yes. But I spent a lot of time in Oakland. I spent a lot of time in Oakland, though. So
me too, actually. Funny thing, I was born and raised most of the time here, but I also lived in Oakland. But you said you lived in France for a bit. You did it like an exchange program. At what age?
So I was in 5th grade when I first went to France.
Where in France?
Right at Paris, right there. I went to school there, learned it. It was awesome. I got to tell you, I have one of the most fondest memories there. I was the only one out of my family that really did kind of this weird exchange program. But, imagine going to France as a kid without your parents in 5th grade. And then I went, a couple more times in middle school, but I stayed with the family half the year. And then that same kid stayed with my family half the year. So we learned French and English. We were we were tight as a class. I wish I could keep in touch with those people in France. One day I'm going to find them. I'm going to track them down. Who knows where they are now?
What was the name of your family?
There was a couple. I forgot the last names, but all I remember, man, I'm telling you, one of the families owned a bakery, and they lived upstairs. You could imagine. Come on now, 5th grader. I'm going downstairs.
Man, so that house was moving. There was a bakery. Was it a bakery downstairs?
Yeah, bakery downstairs. So our jobs is funny. It's like we could take anything we want, but as long as we made sure the next morning the display case looked full and ready to open up in the morning, then we're all good. But man, we were at middle of the night grabbing this. We're like, we got to refill this. But man, those are some of the fondest memories. I mean, going to school in France.
That's amazing.
Man, I tell you, I never would imagine, that in my life, but it really helped shape kind of everything that I do.
What was the culture shock like? Or was there, or you were just another kid just
Well, it was a culture shock in a way, but I've been learning the kind of the French and European culture since 5. So basically, I'm gonna break it down. So when I was in home, growing up in the Mission Excelsior, so my family is, they immigrated here in the 70s. So I learned Tagalog, which is the Philippine dialect. So I was talking to my aunties, uncles, everybody in Tagalog, and then English were the 2 first languages at home. And then I got formal education. And then it was French and English. And then I took some Spanish along the way. I even took some German in between. So I had like almost 5 languages by the time I was like 10 years old for a minute. It was a little overwhelming, but that really helped shape kind of my worldview of everything. And just, we're the world is big, but it's very small. And so, that's one thing about me is I really try to break it down, and like everybody is a human being that can contribute something different culturally, this and that. And I at a young age, I really just got to accept diversity, cultures, different things, and had an open mind. And that really shaped me. And
so then you went to Santa Clara University.
Yes.
You stayed in the Bay. And I'm not going to lie, I went online and I heard about how you first got into the Warrior Circle. But before that, you were a fan already, weren't you?
Yes. And
here your family.
Yes. And that's the true story is, so my mom, when she immigrated here in the 70s, I was the only child born here. Her entree to American culture was basketball. So she imagine watching the Warriors back in 74, 75 when Rick Barry and those folks were winning that first championship for the Warriors.
Came at a right time.
Years ago. How crazy, right?
Yeah.
But she saw that on TV. And then, I don't remember that stuff. I was born in, the late 70s. But when I went to, basically, when I was a kid, my mom was watching basketball. There you go. You got my
favorite photo. This is priceless, by the way.
Oh, yeah. You see, look at that. That should be on my promos for the hype man. You want to be a hype man? Take a look at this kid. Did you ever
start young? If you don't have a picture like this, you can't be a hype man for the Warriors 20 years down the line.
I know. I should. You know what? I never use this image as a promo for anything, but you know what? There are kids that look like me and sound like me, whatever. If they ever want to work for an NBA team one day, this kid right there is fulfilling the dream. And I hope many kids can say, I could be a hype man or MC for my favorite team, you know? But that's when I first started loving basketball. I think I might be about 10 right there. But during the Run TMC days, I'm telling you. So I used to watch basketball with my mom, or I go to sleep. It's like either or. I was like, well, I'm not going to go to sleep, so I'm going to watch basketball with mom.
Your mama would love basketball that much. That's crazy. That's
she watches every game to this day. And so, you know, my love for the game is really coming from her. And so that's how awesome, just looking back 40 plus years ago, she saw the first NBA championship for the Warriors. And then she sees her son 40 years later win an NBA championship with the favorite team. Crazy,
man. Full circle. She must be so proud. But were you always an extroverted kind of person growing up? Was that something in your nature already?
No, see, that's the funny thing. So, you know what, you know, as kids, you know, that's why I say, you know what, you just got to unlock the full potential. If you're a kid, you got to try new things, this and that. And hey, believe it or not, I was not a shy person, but hey, I'm an only child. I had to, you know, go to school. I didn't have brothers, sisters, and cousins or anything in my school. So I had to really make friends. And so at the young age, I was, you know, talking it up in the lunch yard and just say, hey, I'll trade you this for this or whatever. And I made conversation. But I was kind of reserved. If you see some of my older videos as a kid, you know, I didn't want to perform per se. But hey, my parents knew I spoke French. They, you know, I did a bunch of, you know, poetry and all this stuff. They said, okay, this kid has a little bit of, you know, artistic talent. Let's see what he can do. I played the piano, did that kind of stuff, but never was like an extrovert from the get-go. It really took until I think high school that I really unlocked my potential, joined student.
What happened? Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, student government, number one, I give, you know, a lot of props to, because, hey, you got to make a speech in front of your peers. That is not easy as a young kid to make a speech.
And in high school,
And in high school, because, you know, in high school, everyone's going to look at me. They're going to judge me. They're going to do
And you got to impress the girls.
And exactly. But, dude, let me tell you, I learned the craft, and I said, hey, you got to just take it by the horn. You're going to be nervous. You're going to feel all the butterflies. But that's when you push yourself. That's when you know you can get to that next level and say, hey, it wasn't so bad. So that confidence really boosted at me. You know, I was 4 years in the student council. I was student body president for sophomore year at least.
Wow,
and just kind of learn the art of like being with people, talking to people, listening to people, being a voice for the people. And I'll add this. This is truly my first hype man, like public speaking job. My dad signed me up at 13 at St. Anne's Church in the Sunset to be the youngest lector at 13. So I was reading like scriptures and things when I was barely, you know, I wasn't even an adult, but I was the youngest one every Sunday, and everybody loved my voice, how I presented it. And, you know, I had older people come up and say, man, Franco, you are the best lector. I'm like, I'm only 13. I think I got a gift here.
Yeah. And this was St. Anthony's?
St. Anne's in the Sunset.
Oh, St. Anne's. Okay.
Sunset, yeah. But then I started doing readings for other things and just started doing public speaking. So it really started from the church, man. And you know, I never really thought about it, but it really helped shape kind of who I am. Yep, that big
this one right here,
right there.
This is everybody. This is where Franco Finn learned his craft.
Right there. And then I just moved on from there to there and started doing more little kind of readings for, you know, my aunt's church and this and that. But started there and pretty much opened up a Pandora's box that I can read in front of the public and I could be a public speaker. And all that just came together, the confidence and everything. And so, you know, kids, get out of your shell. You know, if the teacher asks you, raise your hand. Who wants to read this thing? Nobody raises their hand. Well, it was awkward. I said, I'll raise my hand. Nobody else wants to. So I started just volunteering to read just little excerpts. And then I just made sure that every time I read, it was as bold. It came to alive. It was crisp. And it was anything. I don't matter what it was. I took that paragraph and I brought it to life. And that's what I do every day as a hype man, an MC, an auctioneer, as a public personality. That was the training, the valuable training that I got as a kid.
And then in Santa Clara, were you involved in other ways, or did you begin to explore careers, or what happened?
Well, yeah. So Santa Clara was a great experience because, as you start developing a little bit more confidence, try to figure out who you are, that's when I think, emerged and said, hey, I could be a performer, like a talent. Because, hey, man, I went to Santa Clara, majored in, started off as an engineer, and I was good at math and science. Boy, that didn't last long, man.
You were up against some other.
Oh man, I mean this school is powerhouse for engineers and blah blah blah. And I was good at math and science, but this was a whole nother level. But I saw a communication studio, very small department at the time, and I was like, wait a minute, I could work behind the scenes and be on and do TV and news and editing and production. So I majored in TV production, not knowing that it was going to open up this whole door. But let me just tell you, I started getting involved with my clubs there. I was part of this Filipino club called Barkada, and
what does that mean?
Barkada in Tagalog is like your group, like your posse, if you will. Your Barkada, that's my homies, in Tagalog. So Barkada is kind of like it's Tagalog for basically like my group of friends. And so we were minorities, didn't have a lot of folks that looked like me and this and that. So we had little clubs and whatnot. I joined it and I started performing, doing dancing, acting, little skits in front of like the whole student body, these cultural nights.
Yeah,
man, I auditioned to become like one of the lead roles, was a star my freshman year. And they said, man, you really have a knack for acting and performing in front of audiences. And I was like, and then I slowly took the mic. And you just never know, like at that time, man, I was just enjoying what I was doing, finding my culture, my roots, hanging out with friends that looked like me, had similarities like me. Because I grew up in a dorm there at Santa Clara that was called the Unity House. It was diverse. We got some celebrities that came out of there, though, I'm telling you, man.
Can you drop a few names?
Oh, yeah. Well, if you remember, some of you who are old enough to remember, there was a girl she was in that freestyle music. Her name was Angelina. If you look her up, she was just the one name. She was out of San Jose. She was a freestyle artist during like the 90s. And she had some songs like Release Me and some other ones, but she was a Bay Area gal. She lived in my dorm. She had to go leave because she was traveling a lot. But my other claim to fame, two of them now. So
Angelina?
So Angelina, yeah, that's her right there. Angelina, freestyle queen back in the day. From San Jose, baby.
No way.
Yeah, man.
I think I got to interview her then too.
Dude, she is. I mean, I don't know where she is now. She might. I think I heard it might be in Texas, this and that. But Angelina had like 2 hits on the radio in the Bay Area, and she traveled the world doing stuff. And she was down the hall from me, and right. And then there was another guy,
and she was still living down the hall. What you're saying?
Yeah, she was going to school and becoming a recording artist at the same time. And I was like, this is crazy. I mean, she was really nice and everything. And so she was, she left early, a couple years after. But if you look up Lloyd Pierce, he's the head coach for the Atlanta Hawks. He lived down the door from me too. And he's good buddies with the great Steve Nash. Yes. So we had some people in the 90s, man, that came up. Lloyd Pierce, obviously, he's the Atlanta Hawks head coach right now. And then you got, there's my boy right there. Man, down the street from me. He's a San Jose product too. Yerba Buena High School in San Jose.
What?
And he played basketball at Santa Clara. Wow. One of his best friends is Steve Nash. So Steve Nash was a senior when I was a freshman. So everybody knows who Steve Nash is.
Yeah,
right?
Get out.
MVP, Hall of Famer, All-Star. Now they're both head coaches in the NBA. We're the only school that has 2 NBA head coaches from one college, Steve Nash and Lloyd Pierce.
That's incredible.
How crazy is that, right?
That's crazy. And I didn't. I mean, I'm not in the know as you are, but I mean, these are folks that I definitely would love to even talk with and just get to know kind of their background like yours. Like, what led you to be where you are now?
Yeah.
And I know I heard the story of how you were just put on the spot. You said. They said, Franco, can you cover this? I don't know what it was, a segment or.
You're talking about the Warriors? How I got
the Warriors? Yeah,
it was a concert for I was working at Radio Disney. So my first job out of college I was in radio, right? I majored in TV and I wanted production and all that. But I was like, you know what? Disney's starting up a radio station for kids.
I remember.
I'm like, what? What a concept, right? I'm like, it's got to be unique. I'm like, Radio Disney, straight pop music, pop factory. I mean, nobody touched NSYNC and Backstreet and Britney and Christina Aguilera and all these artists back then until now. Now they're all cool and everything. But you know what? We were the only pop station other than maybe another station that kind of played their music. But let me tell you, I was emceeing concerts for NSYNC, Backstreet, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Jessica Simpson, Aaron Carter, Lil Romeo, Miley Cyrus, Jonas. Man, the list goes on and on. But the breakthrough moment, do you remember who Hillary Duff was? Lizzie McGuire?
Yeah.
So, back in the day, she was the it girl, right? She was the top of her game. Disney creates these products, these machines. So she was a pop star, singer, actress, man. Hillary Duff, that lady right there, she had her first concert in Oakland and she had no opening act. We were the only radio station sponsoring it. They said, Franco, you're going to be on the air. Get up there, hype it up. I interviewed her too in my studio right before that. And, people know her, but you have to be a Disney fan to know her. But let me tell you, it was a sold-out crowd in Oakland.
How many people?
Yeah.
How many people?
20,000 plus, man. It was like ripping with the seams. It had parents, kids, glow sticks packed everywhere, man. It was like, dude, those pop concerts back in the day were at a different decibel level, man. It was the loudest, high-piercing, energized concerts that you will ever imagine. You imagine NSYNC and Backstreet and all these artists at the heyday. Dude,
I was a fan at the heyday for sure.
Right? Well, it was a machine, right? It was pop music for like a good decade. And let me just tell you, that opening act, which was me, to open up for Hillary Duff, I had 15 minutes to hype up a crowd.
15 minutes? That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. Exactly. So you got to come up with crowd response. I was like, every area code. Who's here in the 408? Make some noise. 707, I hear you. 4, 1, 5. Put your hands up. I mean, dude, I stretched like no tomorrow. And it was crazy. But let me tell you, that 15 minutes, hyping up a crowd, I was out of breath. Man, the Warriors execs were backstage with their kids, handed me the business card. They said, man, you have some energy. Here's my card. We have a position called kind of an MC, an in-arena MC that's going to rove around, do some timeouts, breaks, Warriors TV thing, whatever. Are you open for this? I said, I'll audition, sure. I'm like, this is my team. And I auditioned maybe a handful of people there. And preseason, they tried a bunch of us out during games.
Oh, wow.
And then next thing you know, they said, hey, we want you to be our in-arena MC for the season. Can you commit to 41 home games? And I'm like, woo, man, that's a lot. And at the same time, I kid you not, I had an offer. I auditioned for the Harlem Globetrotters to be their traveling MC. And I had a contract with the Globetrotters to travel the world for a year. And then I had the Warriors, 41 home games, staying at home. I was like,
damn.
How old were you? I was young. I was only 25 at the time, young. I was a young, eager MC, hype man, kind of, radio personality, budding personality that was just starting to get my legs, and my energy was my product, man. Like I'd compete with all the major radio stations at concerts. I'd get up on the vans. I'd be playing Aaron Carter, man. Like, who plays Aaron Carter, man? I'm playing I Want Candy, and I'm standing on top of the van at a concert before a big major concert. I'm literally out hyping the major stations out there in the parking lot, and I'm throwing candy. I'm like, who wants candy? It was like crowd response. Man, I wish I had videos of those moments.
Where do you what happens? You get in a zone. Do you prep yourself to be in the zone? what happens for you to be able to respond to thousands of people looking at you?
It is pure adrenaline. I tell you.
Yeah.
Well, yes. A part of it is you got to really dig down deep. You know, you have one job. You got to turn it on for X amount of time. And so you can't just be a talking head and blah, 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 blah. You got to put your voice, you're all into it, your soul. You got to go, are you ready? You got to really just kind of rev it up. And so I kind of perfected my craft, versus like, are you ready? Hey, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
You got to be like on top of it. You got to own it. So it comes from within. I mean, I get butterflies, tingles. I'm almost half passed out because I put everything into it. I said, are you ready? And people are just like, this guy's got some energy, just like delivery. But that's how I became a hype man. And then all of a sudden the Warriors were like, okay, you're good at hosting, you're good on camera. You want to try this starting lineup? Let me see how you read. Let's introduce this lineup. This was back in, maybe 2 years into the Warriors. Right? Yeah, Franco right there. There you go. That's
the retro jersey and everything.
That's pretty much, that was probably my late 20s right there. And that one right there, let me tell you, they started giving me more and more. They said, you got a good voice for a starting lineup. You got that, and now you're NBA champion, Golden State Warriors. They're like, dude, wow. You're going to do the starting lineup. And so the PA announcer was like, what? I usually do all of that. And I was like, I'm sorry. They told me to hype up the team. You could do the visiting team, but I got to start up the games.
Dang.
And the rest was history. Almost 20 years later, here we are.
I mean, this is a good photo. Maybe 2 years ago, year ago.
This was, that was definitely Oracle. I don't know. That looks like strength in numbers, man. That was only a few years ago, right there. That was amazing.
And the other thing, it's 19 years. You've been in this profession for 19 years with the Warriors. How do you reinvent yourself? How do you keep yourself so dedicated? Because not a lot of people, especially nowadays, can keep a job for more than like 3-4 years.
Man, you nailed it. This is the longest job I ever had. I mean, come on, nobody really stays at a job for 10, 15, even I'm almost 20 years.
Not anymore, man.
It's crazy. It really comes down to, it's a labor of love. It's a passion. Like I love my dubs, man. Like when I'm out there, you see 100% real Franco Finn. And you know what? Some people may like it, and some people may not like the energy. There's the basketball people are like, well, I just want to watch the game. Why do I need to do the fit? No. Hey, some people have their own experiences. Some people just are diehard hoopsters that just want to see the game. But I'm there for the next generation too. I'm there for the fans that want the energy. When you need that fourth quarter over the top, our team is down by 2 points. We need the crowd to be in it. People don't realize it's not just hyping up a crowd. It's hyping up the crowd at the right time. Fourth quarter, there's been so many moments when we're down and our players need that extra boost. Once we get out right before a timeout break or right after one, they say, Franco, hype man, it's hype man time. It's like my alter ego. Got the hype man glasses on, put it down, stand on one of the stands. I go, it's that time. It's our time, Dub Nation. Get up on your feet and make some noise. But that's the thing. They need that start, and that little energy boost gets the players pumped. They get them pumped, and it's been amazing, man. I got to see young Steph Curry right there.
There it is. He's looking at him all sweet and innocent.
We were little babies back then.
Yeah.
We were little babies, but let me tell you, it was, he's one of the best guys to be the ambassador, not only for the Warriors, but also for the NBA. He works hard. He practices hard. Great example for the kids. His family man. I mean, I knew it from the get-go, man, that this kid was going to be something else. He's going to change the game, and he sure did.
Yeah. Let's backtrack. You've been with the Warriors through thick and very thin moments, especially most of them have been thin prior to, let's say, 5-6 years ago. As a as a Bay Area, San Francisco native, I got to ask you about this gentleman right here. You're seeing me type right here.
Okay.
Hold on. Give me a second. Thunder.
Oh, the Thunder. Yeah.
The Thunder.
Good moments.
What can you tell me about the Thunder?
Well, Thunder was, I thought we had the coolest mascot. I'll be honest with you. Nobody had muscles like that. Everything was right? Everyone had they were pudgy, furry, fuzzy. They looked like cartoons. Now, Thunder had muscles. He was aerodynamic. He could fly. He was a superhero, man.
I saw him perform.
And honestly, man, I miss having Thunder as our mascot. But you know what happened was the Oklahoma City Thunder became the new team. And so, he was retired. The story goes Thunder was left in China because we went to China right before all that. Before Thunder came about, and just decided to stay. That's the story.
Thunder's in China as we speak. Man, bless him. And the memory as a child is with Thunder, so that's dope. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the Thunders came to steal our Thunder.
Well, that's pretty much it. Exactly, stole our Thunder, and you know what? And it was time, I guess. That was an older era of Warriors basketball. Now it's retro. We look back and say, man, remember we had a mascot? We haven't had one since. Look, the Lakers have never had a mascot. Their main signature were the Laker girls, and of course all the Hollywood people around. So the Warriors kind of became the new Hollywood of NBA royalty for a minute. We had folks like Snoop Dogg stop by, Owen Wilson. We had, Jessica Alba. Dude, I was there for 2 Chainz comes by. Prince, before he died, he showed up. Jay-Z, Beyonce. We got Guy Fieri from the Food Network and E40 up in there. That is a beautiful medley of talent and celebrities. So we didn't need a mascot anymore. I kind of became the unofficial, kind of the, not a mascot, but more of a voice and hype kind of guy.
Yeah.
But nothing we didn't have any visuals like that anymore. We have our hoop troop guys that, give out the pizzas and the shirts and all that. But look, we had people courtside every day. It was 5 years of literally mayhem, Hollywood coming to the Bay. It was insane.
And what was this moment like for you?
Oh, man.
After winning the first championship.
That was amazing. Let me
tell you. Can you tell us that story?
So my mom right there, she's in a wheelchair. She's been in a wheelchair for 20, almost 25 years. So that's another reason why I never left the Bay is because my mom and I are super close. She's literally my number one fan. I'm the only child. And that was a proud moment when we won our first championship in 40 years. She witnessed it 40 years ago, before I was even born, to now, where literally 40 years to the date, 2015, her son and the Warriors win an NBA championship. So that photo that I show right there was my mom at the game in the finals. She got to see pretty much history 40 years ago and 40 years later. And so that was a proud moment for me, being, son of an immigrant. She created a future and a life for me here in the States. And I just took it, ran with it, and made my mom proud. That was a proud moment for me.
Yeah. And imagine, who's your mom, from the 2015, 2016, who was your mom's favorite player?
Back in the day, goodness, there was just so many people though, but her and I loved Steph right from the get-go. Also, she was a big Clay fan as well. She got to meet Clay and also Steph over the years and stuff. And she just, she was saying, "Oh, they're so guapo, they're so good looking." I'm like, "Oh, man, what's going on?" Oh, they're such nice kids and all that. And so it was pretty awesome having my mom meet them. And but she's a fan of all of them. She's watched Warrior basketball, like I said, 45 years now. And she's seen every player, knows who they are, watches pregame, game, and postgame. And I'll tell you a story. Not a lot of people know about this, but those white sunglasses there that became kind of my signature for many years, especially in Oracle. People were like, "Oh, is it a gimmick? Is it a shtick?" you know what? To be honest with you, that's how the hype man was born. So I used to wear these white sunglasses because I wanted something that popped on camera, number one. And so my mom, who's wheelchair bound, has been at home, watching most games from home. She'll go to Oracle here and there when I take her and stuff. I have someone to watch her. But she would look for me during the pregame and broadcast because I'm walking around the court. Right. When, Fitz and JB are doing their broadcast, I'm literally doing like pregame stuff as I'm walking by TVs. So it was kind of that thing where my mom could find me and look for me. So she would look for white glasses on TV, and it was right on top of my head. So she couldn't miss me. And I'm on the court. So she would find me, but it was my little kind of wink to her and say, "Hey, Mom, I know you're watching. Sunglasses. Hope you can find me." So it was a little game. Right. And, lo and behold, when they first told me, they said, "Franco, we're down several points. We need hype man energy. Get people on their feet. Let's go." I was like, put the sunglasses down, put on some chairs. People were propping me up, and the hype man was born. I had white shades, and it was the alter ego. It was like the Hulk came up. And you see there's tons of videos and tons of photos of me with that. And that's how it started. So I just kept those glasses up there. And people never realized what that was for. They're like, "Oh, what is that?" It's like a throwback in the 80s. Right. Those are like my blue blockers back in the day.
Was there ever a moment? What's been one of your most challenging moments as a hype man at the Warriors at Oracle Arena?
Well, the people don't realize, like, the hardest part is getting people energized about anything when the team wasn't doing too well. Like, half of my career has been, I put it mildly, bad basketball. Okay. We couldn't win for almost 2 decades, man. I mean, we had flashes of success. We believe
2006, 2007. I remember.
Man, that was one of the most memorable, probably one of my most favorite seasons, because we weren't supposed to be in the playoffs. But the fans were so hungry. And let me tell you, what a contrast, because before that, getting people juiced up about scoring over 100 points, free chalupas and tacos, just getting people excited about something other than the game. You know how hard that is. And you got to, they're like, "Why would you hype up the Warriors? They're garbage." Man, I heard it from everywhere. And I said, "Okay, I get it. But you know what? The fans, there's still kids out there. They still want a great experience. They want a good timeout experience. This is it." And so I took that job very serious. Even if our teams sucked, like, couldn't even win 20 games.
I know.
But I was the fan voice. I was the face of the fans. I'm not going to let the fans down. I don't care. You spent a lot of money. We're going to give you a dang good entertainment product. Not the team, maybe, but we'll give you dunkers. We'll give you a DJ. We'll throw some shirts out there. We'll get you, put your hands in the air, hands up, whatever. That's priceless.
I heard that I was hearing from you in a conversation that the Warriors were one of, if not the first team to have this entertainment squad with MC, with a DJ. Tell me how that began, or did it begin prior to you coming in, or as you started?
So here's a little bit of history. So back when I joined in 2002, they were starting to create this brand of entertainment, a show within the show. So they called it Great Timeout Entertainment. So it was all the breaks in between, the bad basketball that we used to have. But it was like, you had an MC, you had a DJ you would throw to, you had a live band, t-shirt time, prize time, all that stuff. So there was an entertainment component that the Warriors realized that, hey, we don't have a good team right here on the floor, but we sure can bring the best of the best entertainment to give the fans a good experience. So probably the first couple of years, there was probably one MC kind of guy like me. And then he left to go to Sacramento. And then there was another guy who was kind of a comedian, and he became an MC for a season or so. And so there was maybe like a year or 2 or 3. They were trying out this MC, DJ, entertainment thing. They called it Great Timeout Entertainment. But then that's when I came on board. and the right timing came, and I took it to the next level and said, we're going to be a fun product when you walk into the doors. We're going to have a show within a show. And he's also a hype man too. So we're going to get crowds into it and all that. That's something that maybe the other MCs didn't really do as much. But the more I did, they said, man, this guy's a hype man for the team. So let's use him when we need to. And man, let me tell you, history now, like looking back 20 years, like we were the first to do it. Now every team, NBA and sports even, I mean, baseball's starting to have it now. DJs, MCs, entertainers within the show, because it's more than just a game now. You got to give fans another perspective, right?
Yeah. And speaking, this is a really good segue that you just talked about, also baseball incorporating entertainment in between. This is, you right here in your element. What was that? Can you explain this photo and then talk about the Giants and your involvement with them as well?
Yeah. So this was a real cool moment, and how crazy is that? We got two huge fighters at the time. I mean, I did about six of these, 6 or 7 with Pacquiao when he was in the heyday. Wow. That's how that started. Yeah, it was 2009. And Pacquiao was probably the hottest fighter in the world. He was the man. And he was Filipino too, which I'm so proud of. And let me tell you, we had a huge event at the Giants. They brought Pacquiao to promote his fight. This was a little bit later down the road. Okay. But he had, he had these Pacquiao Filipino Heritage Nights that probably oversold more than they ever thought. We had, I think, almost 15,000 people in 2009 for a special pregame event with the world champ Manny Pacquiao. And that's when they called me. The Giants said, who is Filipino who could hype up a crowd at a baseball event with a boxer? Well, there's probably only one guy that could probably connect with the people.
The one and only.
And that's what happened. The history was, and then so I've done events with Manny Pacquiao, been to his fights, got to play pool with him, bowled with him. He even practiced at the Warriors practice facility one year too. Like it was a beautiful moment. So these photos, I look back and I'm like, wow, I had the biggest superstar in boxing literally in the Bay Area. And I got to MC and host all those special events. It was crazy.
Was there one, or are there a few celebrities or athletes that really had an impact on you, like just meeting them and you were just thrilled and maybe didn't know how to compose? You weren't composed when you met them?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Well, Pacquiao for sure, when I first met him, because he was the biggest thing on the planet. And they got to say, hey, you're going to introduce Pacquiao to the Giants fans, 15,000 people that bought tickets for this pregame thing. You're gonna play this little game and you're gonna hold up his hand. I'm like, what? That was a moment that started my career with the Giants, special events, and kind of opened up the world. But even rewinding back in the day, one of my first jobs when I was with the Warriors is we covered this Lake Tahoe celebrity golf classic. I got to interview my childhood idol, Joe Montana. And let me tell you, I couldn't believe it. I was just, oh my gosh. Like he was the coolest guy. He was so quiet.
Cool Joe.
Yeah, Joe Cool, baby. Gotta love him. And oh man, that was intense. And that was a non-Warriors event. It was like basically a golf tournament event that we covered. And I was introducing all these kind of celebrity classic folks at the party. And then I got to interview Joe for 5 minutes, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So yeah, those are some big time celebrities, Pacquiao, and but I met and grazed elbows with a ton of them during NBA All-Star, from Dr. J to Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Reggie Miller. The only one that I have not, and I one day will, is be this guy right here, Michael Jordan. This is framed jersey, autographed, everything. That's his rookie jersey right there. I don't think I've ever been in the same room as that guy, but other folks I have. But he's the one guy I have not. So maybe one day I'm cross that off the list.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. There's one celebrity that I know goes pound for pound with you when it comes to hype and energy.
Who's
right
that?
here. And you met him.
Ah, yeah. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
When the Hulkster runs wild on you. Yeah, dude.
He's the ultimate hype man.
Dude, I probably learned a lot from him. Ric Flair. I even got I met Ric Flair during that.
No way.
Jimmy Mouth of the South, Hart. I mean, these are my childhood wrestling legends. Hulkster, man, was he cool, dude. Let me just tell you, I freaking loved it. Thank you for reminding me. I forget how many people I've interviewed, but definitely on the high list for me. Yeah. Thanks for bringing up these. I like that. You doing your research. I love it, man.
Hey, man. You're a real city ambassador, man. I have to do my job, and because I'm, again, and I'm not. I wasn't lying. Like when I was putting together this podcast, when I created a list of folks, you were one of the first folks. I was like, oh, I need to have Franco Finn, because I've seen you at work too, which is so amazing. My job so at Carnival San Francisco, I produce the event. Sometimes I have to be, I have to build up my energy and hype, a crowd. And I always think back to, I was like, man, how does Franco do this? Like, I'm tired after 2-3 minutes, So I always admire you from afar. Because, we don't cross paths very often, but you do come to mind, and it's something. You're someone I study. Honestly, I'm not lying.
I appreciate. Carnival is one of my favorite events. When I was doing things at KOFY-TV, when I was a host there. I did a whole dance party episode with Carnival and all the dancers.
Or you mean this dance party?
Yeah, you know. That was amazing. Let me just tell you, man. I love me all the music, the Latin dance, and everything. I'm married to a Latina myself. She's Dominicana, so so we got the Filipino and the Dominican home here with with music and festive and family. So that was an amazing moment for me, because I was one of the last hosts actually for this iconic show called Dance Party. It was been around a long time, and I was the last host before it switched ownership and stuff. But the Carnival episode was wild.
That was wild. And that was the first time, the first time I crossed paths. And I'm like, whoa, who is this guy? He's just making it happen, and
so much fun, man.
So much grace, bro. You bring a lot of grace to the craft.
Thank you.
I think for me, that's what really stood out. Because even before the camera was on, you were grace. You are you, but I'm saying like you're just you, right? Graceful. The camera goes on, you just turn it up a notch. Turn it up. It's still you. And so I admire that. So I
appreciate. That's what it is. It literally is an on and off switch. I have to. When the pressure's on, the camera's on. You're rolling tape or whatever. It's like you got to be ready when your moment comes. And let me tell you, it's yes, I do it a lot at the Warriors, but you got to look at every impression as it's your first and last. What are you gonna? What's the lasting impression, the first impression also that you make when they turn on that camera? You look in that red dot, it's on. Yeah. Your job, and no matter how tired you are, I've been juggling a full-time job for almost 20 years and doing this for fun. Can you imagine that? And I'm tired. We get tired. We get home. We're like, oh, my day's done. No, my day is not done. I put the full 8 hours in my full-time, and I'm juggling. I'm doing so many side things, side hustles, everything. And then when it's go time, you got to be on, because 20,000 fans expect you to turn it up. That's
a big responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility. And so, I never take it lightly. I tell people, man, I said, it's not the easiest. Yeah, look, it may look easy. You turn it on, you get it going, you go like that. But I guarantee you, people just freeze because it's just a different element. Like you got to practice like anything else. My first time on the camera, I look at some videos. It was pretty cool. It was hyped, but not as, to the level I am now. Of course. But, I had to learn and navigate and find out the ebb and flow, strike when it had to strike, when it was hot, and pull back when it had to and stuff. And so you learn that as a professional. And,
can you tell me how some of those skills have translated to this?
Oh, yeah, that's my Mendenhall School of Auctioneering. Yes, I learned from the best of the best in North Carolina. So
did you have to travel to North Carolina to take the course?
I stayed there for 3 weeks. It was the most intense boot camp experience that I've ever faced. Basically, I had to learn the craft, the chant, the business of it, all the different types of auctions from cattle to cars.
Did you say the chant?
The chant, yeah.
What's the chant?
So the chant is what auctioneers and most people are like, oh, you're a fast talker. He's like, how many dollars on it? 5, would have been 5, would have been 5, not 10, would have been 10, not 15, not 15, not 20. It's like a chant. It's a song. You're actually kind of almost hitting notes and you're like rhyming and raising. Like everyone has a different thing, but the South, they do it the best. So I learned from one of the best auction schools in the country. I had to go to the deep South in North Carolina to learn from like literally the best. These people have done cattle, car auctions, you name it. And I'm a benefit auction specialist, so I only do charity events, but you got to learn all the different things to understand the business of what an auctioneer does. It's a profession that I'm proud of. Every night I help raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for youth, homeless, schools, churches, you name it, this and that. It's the one job I use my gift, my talent as a man, as an MC, package it together as an auctioneer, and I'm making a difference in the community. And
that must be so rewarding.
It is. And that really is my passion right now. Look, I've done a lot. I've covered TV, radio, sports. All that stuff is fun.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as a human being, if you can help another human being using your skill, your craft, like what you do during this Thanksgiving and helping out of your own time, because that's what you want to do and you want to help feed people, this and that, man, that you can't teach that humbleness and that selflessness to anyone. You have to really want to do it, and you do it, and you use a gift and you do it for good. That's what I've been able to do. I've turned it into a business, yes, but in the end, I've helped so many nonprofits, and that is probably right now. I like, the championships are great, but right now I'm being a human being helping humanity, and that's icing on the top for me.
There we go. And this is one of your most recent ones. But can you also tell us about your experience now doing it online, doing it virtually, and how you've, again, reshaped your craft and adapted to the new circumstances?
Yes. So that photo right there was so funny. It was taken right in my backyard during COVID era in 2020. But that's the virtual getup, man. I got like a tux on top, shorts and flip-flops on the bottom. And that's my good buddy, Liam Makelem, another great auctioneer here in the Bay. And so together, we were the top two pretty much auctioneers that are changing the game and virtually pivoting. And so what you see, that outfit is what I would wear at an event. And let me tell you, in March, April, and May, when people are like, "Oh my gosh, in-person events, we can't do it. How are we going to raise money again? We're gonna shut down as an organization." I said, "No. We are not going to shut down, folks. I will be your front man. I'll be your hype man auctioneer." That's my brand, by the way. I'm not just an auctioneer. I am your hype man auctioneer. There's only one.
Nice.
One, and that's me. Because honestly, I am a hype man, true and true. Sports, TV, radio, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also a professional licensed auctioneer. So together, I'm your hype man auctioneer. And let me tell you, I've been helping a lot of orgs since March, April, pivot, turn, and make it the most successful fundraisers they've ever had online, because you could reach more people to this little tiny camera than you ever thought, right? Yeah. More than 300 people in a ballroom, and you don't have to pay for parking, hotel, all that stuff. So I partnered with a gal named Gina, Spot On Productions, and together we're the front and back ends of a virtual event solution for you. And we have a ton of clients now, and we're still going strong.
Yeah. How do you see the two worlds? I mean, how are they different for you? Being an auctioneer and then being in sports and being a hype man.
Well, it's funny. There are definitely different jobs in a way, right? Because sports, you're hyping up a crowd. You're a product of entertainment and basketball and sports. As an auctioneer, you're raising money, so there's pressure. I have to raise dollars. I'm judged by how much money I bring in from my virtual broadcasts or my events. And so if I don't raise a lot of money for these organizations, they either don't survive or they move on to the next thing and said, wow, this guy didn't really help us bring it. So there's a lot of pressure when you're doing auctions. And let me tell you, the one similarity is that it is me. I am the same guy, just tweaked in a different way. When I'm in a basketball setting, I know I'm going to get the crowd pumped up about the team, timeouts, energy. Let's raise the roof off this place. When I'm in an auction, I'm still a hype man and auctioneer all in one, but I have to raise the roof with the fundraising numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different thing. And you have to engage every individual on the other side to say, hey, Rodrigo, I want you to give $500.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, Sam, whoever's on the other side, I want you to give $1,050. I want you to give more money than you ever thought because you connected with this organization. That is more, that's convincing in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to know what you're talking about. You got to be heartfelt. You got to be genuine.
And you have to do a lot of research. You got to know your audience because every organization has a different audience.
Yes. And you think about it. So Warriors events, games, they're here for basketball. They want to win. They want high energy, scoring, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Auctions, man, it's a different group. You might be doing one for a kids organization, a kids camp. So they're going to be a little bit different. You're going to talk to people who are all about homelessness. That's a different one too, right? There's going to be, just different kind of, purposes with these organizations. And so you have to really be crafty and you got to be a chameleon ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. So
right before we close, I want to share one thing we have in common. I believe it was this year that it happened.
Yeah.
And I just saw it right now.
Okay.
This is you.
Ah, yes.
San Francisco City Hall representing the Pinoy community.
Yes.
This was this year, 2020?
And didn't you do something similar too? Look at my man looking good in there.
Look at this man wearing his traditional, in my language is guayabera. What do you call it in the Philippines?
Yes, this is called the barong. In Tagalog. And that's basically a what you see right there is like it's a thin kind of material derived from the islands, super hot in the Philippines, but it's a traditional garb for formal events, weddings, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I saw that. I'm like, my brother.
Yes.
We're wearing our barons.
Yes.
Okay, so I got to end it with the same 3 questions that I asked every person, and you can give me maybe more than one if you need to. Your favorite restaurant, let's say in San Francisco.
Favorite restaurant in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I got to say, Santung in the Sunset, baby, the best wings on the planet.
How do you spell that?
G. Wow. And I hope I have enough time on my computer because it is about to shut down.
Okay, then we're done. We're almost done.
It's rapid fire for real.
Santung.
Battery. Pressure
on. All right.
24-second shot clock. No,
perfect. What's your favorite park?
Favorite park? The best. Golden Gate Park right here, celebrating 150 years.
Nice. And then your favorite street?
Favorite street? I got to say Mission in San Francisco. Mission. Oh, you got to. That's my old hood, baby. Right there.
We go.
that is my heart and soul. That's where I think cultural and diversity for me started.
Oh, that's beautiful, Franco. Anything else you want to say before we say hasta luego to all the people?
I just want to say these are 3 simple things, and it's maybe cheesy, but I was saying these to these kids back in the day when I was a radio personality for Radio Disney. I used to tell the kids, you dream it, you believe it, and you achieve it. Simple math right there. Dream, believe, achieve. And those 3 words are my motto every day because you got to have a vision to dream it. You got to believe that you can do it. And then you go grab it, you achieve it. And you know what? Your dreams will come true. And so that's what I want to say to everybody out there. Keep inspiring. Keep being who you are and do good. Be a human being.
That's beautiful. Franco, thank you for being here today. And we'll see everyone next time.
We got it. All right. Thank you, my man.
Peace.
Take care, everybody.